All right, we had a short break there, but we are back with another Clash of the Titans incoming. Two of NA's best, Hawk and Dragon here. A little more ZVP action. Ozzy thinks one, I think the other. We're going to have to try to find out who is right. Here are our maps. We have Eclipse. Just kidding. It's Polestar, Radion, Metropolis, Dominator, Deja Vu. We see Dragon banning out Death Valley and Hawk taking out Eclipse. So, pretty standard maps we're about to play on.
And I think that makes sense for both of these players, right? Dragon kind of known for being like a very by-the-book standard player, right? He doesn't like to get too crazy or too weird. He likes to play his just strong standard styles, more or less. Hawk also kind of likes to avoid like overly weird situations, I think. So I think the picks and bans just kind of shows that both players are very confident in their play here.
Absolutely. Well, Ozzy, I think our players are ready on map number 1. Let's jump into the first game of this best of 5. Hawk vs. Dragon on Polestar. All right, and spawning in the top right, the Canadian Protoss, it is Dragon.
And in the bottom left, we have the Professor from North America. From America, Hawk. The real America.
He's from both North America and America, Ozzy. You got it. You nailed it. Both statements are true.
I only speak truths around here.
I know you do.
Alright, kind of like I was saying, I expect a lot of standard gameplay. Hawk sometimes can get a little weird. I haven't seen too much from Dragon. But like I said, I think both players are going to be very confident just playing strong standard styles, at least here to start.
Yeah, I think Dragon won't get weird. I think Dragon will play Forge. Very just standard, straightforward. I think Hawk, we're going to see a bunch of overpool, playing into a mid game. That's his most comfortable style. And that's exactly what we're about to see. The pool goes down. Dragon has the scout out already. Now cross map, so he might be able to get the Nexus down before the cannon if he feels comfortable.
Yeah, for sure. Even normally, right, against overpool, you go 13 Nexus, 13 cannon, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, he'll definitely be comfortable doing that if he gets the confirmation here, which he should. So we're gonna see that double scout, all nice and normal here. Gonna see no 12 hatch, so no cannon rush shenanigans or anything like that.
Yep, nothing crazy. Hawk's just getting that drone out. Gonna see what where he's at. Can Dragon get some blocks going on here? It's unfortunate when this moment happens. Like, you kind of have to go in and check, right?
Yeah, you need to know.
The drone is out there. You need to know what's going on. If you can go Nexus or Cannon or whatever else. You know, if you see no lings whatsoever, you could go Gateway too. But
yeah, so we're going to see that 13 Nexus, 13 Cannon as response. This is nice and standard. It's going to be 4 lings from Hawk, so we're not going to need to make a double cannon or anything. This is all pretty much as expected here in the beginning.
And Hawk going to hunt this probe down.
Yeah, and this is going to be like the first, like, relatively important moment of the game is how long can we keep this probe alive, right? You want to keep it alive long enough to see the gas timing and things like that. And that alone can give you enough information on, you know, whether or not it's likely to be Hydra or Muta. And as you see the gas being delayed more and more, it leans less and less towards a lair play.
Yeah, it seems that we're gonna probably have a very standard opening here from Hawk, maybe even like a 3-hatch, or 4-hatch Hydra type of play. Let's see if he wants to put some pressure on Dragon. Dragon trying to keep this probe up. Like you said, Ozzy, the hardest part about PBZ is just the information dump, right? Like, you don't always get a lot of information if you lose your probe, and it's got to make it happen.
Yeah, Dragon doing a good job keeping this probe alive as long as he has. Looks like it's going to get cornered and picked off here, but he pretty much got all the information he needed anyway. He saw the gas timing, so he should have a pretty good idea of where he's at, or like what his opponent's going to be up to, at least here in the early stages.
Yeah, everything just very standard so far. Nothing crazy. Kind of measuring each other up.
Yeah. And you don't even see like the rescout from Dragon. He doesn't really even need to send out that other probe. We see the lair on the way. And it's just going to be drones from Hawk and Dragon working towards his own Corsair tech.
Yeah, Hawk has that Overlord in front of the gateway. He knows there's no Zelds being produced really, so he doesn't need to really make more. If he does see them move out, he can always produce them then. So he's feeling very comfortable here just a drone.
Yeah, nice Stargate timing from Dragon, kind of as expected. Both players very strong. Not going to mess up his timings or anything, especially with no pressure coming out from either player. So going to get that like 4:15-ish Stargate. So going to be a nice Corsair timing, but we are going to have the Spire timing to try and match us. So he's going to have a window to like maybe kill this Overlord or something potentially on the high ground after he does the scout. And yeah, I mean, Hawk's also going to be feeling pretty comfortable seeing that there's no Zealots being made, so he just doesn't have to make any lings. We just keep droning like you said. And we're just going to go into a strong mid game for both players here and see how they pivot from there.
Yeah, our drone count's very strong right now here from a Hawk, almost even on probes. Probably going to see a 4th and a 5th hatchery. I think the 4th one just went down at the 3rd base. Probably going to see a 5th here very, very soon.
I am surprised that Dragon never even tried to push the Zealots out to get a probe out to get any information. He just seems to be very comfortable doing what he's doing and just waiting for the Corsair. Sometimes you like to see... usually you'll see that 2nd cannon and the 3rd cannon starting at the time that Dragon did so that you can cancel it once you confirm that it's not Hydra. But he's just making the 2nd cannon ahead of time, not going to start a 3rd cannon or anything like that. So he just seems very confident that Hawk would never 973 him, because this could have been really dangerous if that's what was coming. Because usually when your Corsair spots it coming across the map and you haven't started your cannons, and it's too late.
And it's interesting that he drops 2 Sunkens right away, right? Like for a static D.
Yeah.
Maybe he's worried with this Sair timing killing Overlords that Zealots could do some damage to him. So it's dropping the Sunkens just to be safe.
Yeah, gonna lose 2 Overlords, so he's gonna get some Plow Block for a bit here. And then I imagine a couple Scourge. I don't see if the Spire finished before it died. I'm pretty sure it did, so we should see a couple Scourge coming out. Dragon gonna scout around. Yeah, we do have the Scourge there. And sees the Scourge, sees the drone count, sees the hatchery count. So he knows it's gonna be 6 hatch Hydra, which is pretty standard as expected.
Yeah, just nothing too crazy here. Both just hitting their bills, doing what they know best. Dragon will probably try to move out with this +1/+1 timing.
Yeah, another pretty standard timing. Oh man, I can't believe we didn't lose a Corsair for that.
That's lucky.
Yeah, a little bit of... Man, we're just playing with fire. We just don't care. I don't know what's going on there. But alright, Zealot move out is happening, +1 in speed, finishing right around the 7:20 minute mark. And Hydra's going to be finishing here. We do already have the Sunkens in place. So Hawk should be able to deflect this without too much damage. I don't imagine Dragon's going to commit to it. This is just kind of a confirm the SimCity, confirm the unit counts, that kind of thing. Just make sure we're testing Hawk to make sure he's not skipping any corners.
A lot of Scourge being made as well here. Honestly, I think he's hoping that Dragon comes in with these Sair so he can pick them off.
Yeah, but he's actually going up to the 6+1. I don't know if Hawk is going for the armor. I don't imagine he is, since he didn't go for Muta. Yeah, so no armor or anything like that on the way. So he's just, yeah, like you said, trying to make a few extra Scourge, hoping to pick off some of these Sair. And of course, you know, anytime those Sair go down, that's kind of the green light for the Zerg to swap into Muta. Because it's very hard for Protoss to go, you know, 6+1 Sair and then also go Dark Archon, because it just eats into your Templar count too much.
Yeah, you just can't spend that much gas. You got to keep these Sair alive at all costs, right? You spend so much time building them up. You might as well keep them alive and do some damage, but... Alright, we see. I think Hawk is going to be going for a 4th base here.
Yeah, 4th base does start there. And I feel like one thing that separates the the kind of like average Protosses from the good Protosses in these game state is how much value they'll actually get out of their Corsair over time.
Little skirmish.
Yeah, just gonna chase his army back from Dragon. Hawk supply looking pretty decent compared to Protosses so far. Worker count 45 to 51, pretty good for Zerg overall. Fourth base on the way, gonna get this pylon, kind of block of pylons here. Something that Protosses should actually do more often instead of building them one at a time. It can be very time consuming if you're like trying to build them all in a line, right? So I think these little supply pylon blocks are actually pretty good. And is Dragon looking for a quick third?
Looking for a third base here. Hawk gonna scout it. But he is looking for a quick third to sit here and defend. Taking a greedy base, since Hawk's taking a fourth, he's like, okay, well then I'm gonna take a third if you're just gonna sit back here.
Yeah, I mean, I actually like it from Dragon in this situation. I think it's a good response to the situation. Hawk continuing to pump Hydras. We do see that with our Corsair, to see more and more Hydras coming out. And he's done a good job of not losing the Corsair. Hasn't been able to find any damage because Hawk's been very good about his Overlord placements and his army movement in general, so no value from the Corsairs yet, but once things get hectic, that's when they can start to find some value.
Yeah, we see Dragon just kind of seeing what's going on here. What do you got? Uh-oh. Talk about keeping them alive here, Razz. Now they're
yeah,
floating over tons of Hydra, but Dragon will be happy with this, right? Like, he's okay, I think, just with sitting on the third base, getting his third gas, hitting his upgrades, probably double forge, you know, so just one still, so.
Yeah, that third gas coming down early can be really scary for Zerg, because once Protoss gets that third gas, they can make so many Dragoon Templar, and it just becomes this like wrecking ball that Protoss can pump nonstop.
Yeah, but Hawk must be feeling fantastic too, Ozzy, because I'm looking at that drone count at 64. Yeah, like, you are macro ready, probably going to be getting that Queen's Nest down, getting that Hive going. Yep, Queen's Nest down, getting that Hive. Like, another hatchery.
Yeah, I wonder. Yeah, I mean, I feel like both players probably feel pretty good, right? Like, both players are happy with it. But I think if Dragon sees the like Hive timing and stuff, it does start to put some pressure on him, because that Hive tech is when it starts to get a little bit scary for Protoss. Because once Hive is online and starts getting going, you kind of need Weavers. But yeah, these Hydras catching a lot of these Zealots, actually going to clean these Zealots off, which is really good for Hawk.
Yeah, it was a really good trade. Can Dragon catch this army is the question. Answer just a couple.
I think it's a few on the retreat. But overall, I'd say that was definitely good for Hawk, killing all those Zealots.
Yeah, that is very strong. Supply count's very close, but like you said, Ozzy, the death ball for Protoss gets bigger and bigger and better, especially when there is no swarm. Hawk just macroing. You can see pretty much all those larvae in use all the time.
So we're getting close to when Hawk's going to have a little bit of a, or not Hawk, but sorry, Dragon's going to have a little bit of a window here, and we see him pushing out. He's getting to that supply count where it's really scary for Lair Zerg to start dealing with. Even though the supply is even, which is usually decent for Zerg, with this army composition, it's very, very hard for Zerg to trade against this.
Yeah, Hawk moving lurkers in a position not burrowed. Dragon getting some good engagement here, Ozzy. This could be a big deal. Oh my goodness, can this lurker take out these Templar? No, the sniping lurker. Oh my goodness.
Does at least soften them up, but doesn't quite kill them off. So a good number of storms still left over. Hawk supply now about that 170 supply, which you know, that is the scary supply count now, and he's trading pretty well against Hawk's army at the moment. Looks like we're kind of backing off a little bit here. Good storm, mostly on the Corsair there, softening them up quite a bit. But I actually like this movement from Dragon. Right. I like this movement from Dragon because you see here, right, the swarm just suddenly starts showing up. So it's good for Dragon to actually reposition so he doesn't get surrounded. Got to be a little bit careful that we don't overstay. And we're going to start bleeding off a lot of these Templar now.
Yeah, what I really like to see from Dragon, I think he's thinking about it as a probe there already, is taking that 12 o'clock base. Like, get a four. Who doesn't have a probe? There's a piling. Get a fourth base up while you're doing this, right?
He
That
actually
way
took
you.
3 during this,
Oh, he did take 3. Okay, he took
which
3.
is interesting. I would not have picked that base personally. I wonder what made him go for that one.
Yeah, I thought going for 12 would have been better. I wasn't
Yeah.
even looking over 3 of those blue buildings. I'm like, oh, just go for 12. I was like, what's going on here? But everything good right
Yeah,
now. Dragon's going to be happy taking a fourth, right? Like, that's positive 4 base versus 4 base. But like
absolutely.
you said, the Hive is where things can really quickly spiral out of control.
Yeah, once Swarms and Plagues come out, right? Plague especially. Plague, extremely important in this matchup. A lot of people don't know at the lower levels. Plaguing Protoss armies is where Zerg gets most of their value in this matchup.
Yeah, and it's just absolutely devastating. Oh, big storm.
Yeah, great
Dragon.
storm of the Zealots here on the right side.
Come back down, going up this ramp and this choke.
Yeah, a little ill-advised, and he does recognize, hey, maybe I shouldn't push up into that, and looking to just kind of engage the army. Is very Zealot heavy right now, which can be eaten alive by the Lurkers pretty easily. So he's just going to slowly push this army forward, I think, and look for Storm's great Storm on all these lanes. And I love this from Dragon so far, just being very patient, efficient, kind of skirmishing, not overcommitting while growing. He's taking a 5th base now at 12 o'clock, and while Hawk is getting his Defiler out now, the eco from Dragon is starting to get pretty scary.
Yeah, Dragon hopefully will be tagging into some Reaver soon. And at this point, he kind of could just move his army back and forth and just try to trap Zerg on their own 4 bases. If he denies the 5th base, it stays on 4, which he's even taking a 5th himself here, Ozzy. So he is taking care of business right now.
Yeah, he's actually putting pressure on Hawk to make something happen.
Here comes the surround, though. Let's see how well Dragon can multitask and fight this. Good storms going down. Not much army still coming from the south here, Ozzy. This Zerg ball looks like it's gonna get eaten.
Yeah, I'm surprised Hawk pulled the trigger when he did, because this is right before his Defiler were ready, actually. I think he just like finished Consumed and then went before his Defiler were out. But he's going to keep trying to reinforce this and overwhelm it. Is picking off a lot of the units, but bleeding off a lot of army himself in the meantime. The Dragon is going to hold the middle here, and maybe even just be able to pivot down to deny this base once he reinforces. Yeah, I mean, he's up 30 supply at the moment.
Yeah, and this is with Zerg on +1 armor and Protoss only on +1 attack, so he has the upgrade advantage there for right this moment, but that will change. And he still had a tough trade.
Yeah. Yeah, we got the double forge running for Dragon at the moment, so he's going to be hitting kind of a 2-3 potentially here. That being said, I mean, Hog's supply actually looks pretty good, which is kind of surprising because I really felt like that was very Dragon favored. But looks like Hawk traded well enough at the moment. He's got a decent bank. The Defilers are out now, getting this base set up pretty nicely. And yeah, it looks like we might be in for a long game here. And what you mentioned earlier too, we're gonna kind of need to start seeing that Reaver tech soon from Dragon, I think.
Yeah, the game just becomes so much more difficult with the Defiler out there. You need the Reavers to be able to hold bases, shuttle harass, get a speed shuttle, start dropping on these bases that are going to consolidate drones, right? 61 drones mines out these bases pretty quickly. Ooh, big clump of lurkers there. Can we get a storm in all of them?
Looks like not. Good plague too. Well, it was a decent plague actually. It's 2 Archons. It always looks like a good plague when Archons are hit, but it's completely pointless.
It takes away all like 5 damage. It's wonderful. Oy,
That's a nice plague,
that's
though.
a big plague.
Yeah, so now all these goons are very weak. Defiler at least gonna get picked off on the bottom side here, but Dragon's Max still kind of skirting around looking for a fight, but his army out here looks pretty tiny for Max. He's probably got a lot back at home.
Yeah, I was gonna say we're really just moving around now with much because right here it looks like there's 24 units, not a maxed out army at all. But
yeah,
so you really want to bleed these Archons off, though.
Yeah, definitely not. Good storm here though on the ramp, gonna clean this up, but I feel like it's relatively even, but I feel like it's starting to become Hawk favorite. I mean, we're starting to see some of that value coming out of the Defiler. We saw the Goons melt right because of the great storms, though. Like, really well-placed storms to be hitting lings on your zealots without touching your own zealots, right? It's a pretty picky storm angle there.
Yeah, but like you said, Ozzy, we're seeing the value of those Defilers. You saw those armies just kind of run into each other, and zealots just get one spine and be dead. Like, it's definitely tricky. These Defilers' damage is insane.
Yeah, I think we see a drone moving towards the bottom right there, maybe looking to take this corner base soon. Yeah, there it is. As Hawk is pressuring the top side here. We do have a couple of zealots at least patrolling the area, so might be able to deny it for a little bit.
Ooh, big plague. Zealot shuttle observers.
Wow, all those Templar too now. Super low on HP.
The Reavers! Plague!
These are great plays from Hawk consistently.
Yes, they are. Those are very, very crazy.
These bases are hard to break though too, even with Defiler. I mean, all these cannons and storms up there are super annoying to come up with choke. So these bases at least look pretty secured from DragOn, but I'm a little bit worried about him long term. Hawk is starting to take the bottom right and doesn't feel like he can really pressure and break any bases at this stage of the game. And expanding beyond this might be pretty hard for him.
Yeah, I think we're getting ourselves into a very, very long game here. With Hawk trying to just split the map. Ooh, we lose the Defiler, but we did get the shuttle.
And got the shuttle, which means these previously plagued Reavers just instantly pop. And we saw two of the Zealots, they walked into like two Lurkers and instantly died because of the Defiler. And yeah, great trade from Hawk here so far. He's up 3.5k bank right now while even on supply. And being very, very efficient. More Templar bleeding off, a little bit of miscontrol from DragOn there. And great map vision from Hawk too. I mean, nothing's going to happen without him seeing it.
Yeah, I think one of the things here, right, as British, you just want to keep doing this. Just storm, 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 let it regenerate, storm, 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 storm. Trade energy for units.
Yeah, between the storms and the Reavers, right, you need to start trying to get that intense value. But we're going to set up a flank here and go for a crush here from Hawk. If he breaks his army, then 3 o'clock might be punishable as well. If he has enough left over, but these Archons getting a lot of value. No swarms or anything here either. So the trade going to be relatively even. Hawk's going to win out, but an even trade I feel like is pretty Hawk favored right now.
Yeah, anytime that Zerg can wipe the Protoss army, it's kind of like PvT when you reset the tank count. Like now, it's harder to macro back up, especially as the late game goes on, even though you have like 10, 12, 15 gateways. Zerg has like 12 hatcheries, you know, produce large. It's tough. Tough to recoup. DragOn's going to need to take top left.
Yeah, and it's hard to like rebuild your Templar account as well as the Archon count because Archons in this matchup are pretty important in the later stages of the game.
Double Robo for more Reaver shuttle.
Yeah, I like that. I think Reaver Storm is definitely the best value DragOn can hope for.
Yeah, gotta get that death ball going, right? Reaver, Dragoon, Storm.
Yeah, it's both the death ball and very efficient at like slow pushing positions. Gonna try and come down here. I mean, he is still max, so he has a good sized army. Did manage to rebuild his Storm or his Templar pretty quickly as well, so he's got a lot of storms here. And if he can slowly break this position, this could be very, very good for DragOn. Starting off as a great trade for him initially, but there's just so much Zerg coming from every angle.
Yeah, we see those hatcheries online. This army getting wiped again, but DragOn doing a good job macroing behind this here because he's still at 168 supply.
Yeah, I managed to save both Reaver too, which is pretty nice. If he can get up to like 4 to 6 Reaver and start these pushes, it could be very hard for Hawk to deal with. Hawk's bank isn't going down, so that's what's nice for him, but DragOn eventually is going to need to expand again. He can't keep doing this forever. You see the natural there mined out, his main's been mined out. Third base probably getting pretty low as well, so he's about to be on 2-base mining, which is fine, but you kind of need to stay on like a steady 2-base mining in this matchup. And yeah, we do see him working towards the next base.
Yeah, he knows he needs top left at this point. Like, this is going to be a full split map scenario.
Yep.
The question is, what will he just go in for it? Or will he just try to sit here and split the map himself? Especially with things like this, you kind of end up getting this weird position where you have to push.
We have the Reaver count, we just don't have the shuttles to put them in. You see 4 Reavers AFK there at the natural there for Dragon. And that was a good Ling denial there from Hawk, denying that extra base from Dragon. It was so annoying for him to try and spare the units to do that nice plague on these Zealots, so these are all going to instantly die to Lurkers when the time to fight comes. I'm going to get a Scourge on that shuttle.
Couple good storms wiping out some of the larger Ling grouped armies. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, these plagues are brutal. I got
Catch
a
up.
plague on both Reavers now too.
The catch up. And this is always the hardest situation, right? As far as for like PvZ late game, like where do you attack? How do you bust in? You need to just keep storming, push with the Reavers, then you get plagued. So I like what Dragon's doing. He's trying to play it slower. It's just very, very difficult.
Yeah, he's doing a great job macroing constantly. Another 2 Reavers joining here, so we're at 4 Reavers now. This is starting to get to... Oh, sorry, we got all the Reavers over here now. This is starting to get kind of scary for Hawk, actually. This is really hard for him to fight into.
Yeah, the Reavers. Ooh. Big plague, but does it matter? Does anything get close to these things?
Yeah, the issue is, right, like getting to them. They might be just a couple taps away, but it's hard for Zerg to get on top of this. He's going to get on top of them, start killing a couple here. It's pretty nice. Yeah, 2 go down. Third going to go down pretty quick because... Well, okay, there we go. Yeah, after the plague, they're just so squishy. They only have those shields, which could eat through pretty quick, but Dragon's supply not really going down much, whereas Hawk has dipped down quite a bit in supply. He has the bank, but maybe not the larva to spin and keep reinforcing as nonstop as he needs to.
Yeah, this is getting tricky. Hawk knows he needs to hold his position. Dragon knows if I break this, I'm in great shape. So both players going all out for it, but it looks like Dragon is just holding on with these trades, man.
Yeah, the final Reavers do go down. A lot of Lurkers show up with this little army, but Dragon, you see it, and you actually see more Protoss streaming across the map than Zerg right now, which is not a good sign for Hawk. This position is starting to break now, and if this breaks and these 2 bases go down, then I start to really like Dragon's position, and he has to do it, right, because we're not expanding. He's about to be... He's on 2 base mining right now, and I imagine that 4th is getting a little bit low, so it's getting close to do or die, but it's looking like he's going to do.
Yeah, he may have enough to push through. It's going to be so tough. Hopefully he reinforces this area again. Hawk does have the Knight. Oh, 2 more Reavers here, Ozzy. Dragon may have done it.
Yeah, Dragon's done such a good job of consistently making and reinforcing Reaver. This can be really hard to do while you're trying to macro and control your army with your storms and everything at the same time. You'll usually see Protosses not be able to just keep making the Reaver shuttle and reinforcing, so I think this has been a huge part of what he's doing really well. So he breaks his base, and he can move up to this high ground soon.
Here we go. Can Hawk hold out? His supply count only 120 versus 184. Oh man, big Reaver shots. Yeah, Hawk, no more bank now. Lost a base. Wow.
Wow.
All the drones going down over here.
Yeah, so aggressive and efficient from Dragon, just pushing, and kind of out-taxing Hawk. I feel like Hawk had enough to deal with it, but Dragon just did a good job of continuing to lean on him and eventually grind him down. Now, these 2 bases going down, I mean, Hawk is now down to just a single mining base. I just don't think he has enough income to produce what he needs to deal with this anymore.
I'm looking at the supply count here now, Ozzy. 60, is that 60? Yeah, 68 to 173. I mean, I don't know how you deal.
Yeah, I don't think he can, right? Because this isn't even like...
Oh!
nice pick on the Reavers, at least. Like, Hawk definitely paying attention there, but... The issue is, like, not only is it the supply, right, but it's also the quality of the army. We got all these Reavers and Storms, too, whereas Hawk's kind of run out of quality. We don't have any more Lurkers, hardly. I guess we have a few. But we don't have very many lurkers. We don't have
Ooh.
Defiler or anything like that. So just the quality is one of the bigger issues. Well, not the bigger issue. The bigger issue is 130 supply. But
Wow, and there's the GG. Really well played from Dragon Man. He just supported that area, kept pressing, moving his army well, making sure he was going through the tech tree. So I think that's a big win there for Dragon.
yeah, great play from Dragon. The opening, very stock standard for both players. Doesn't really get any more standard. And Dragon just kind of showing a superior late game here in this matchup.
Yeah, so game one on Polestar goes to Dragon. That was his pick. So next up is Radeon, which is Hawk's pick, which we said kind of before these two like their standard map. So no real shock or surprise there. So
Yeah.
our players are ready. Let's get into game number 2. All right, and spawning in the top right of Radeon, up 1-0, it's Dragon.
Spawning in the top left, not able to hold on to his bases in that last game. Going down that first game, we have Hawk.
Right. Let's see if Dragon changed anything, or are we just going to be staying with a Forge and keeping it simple?
There's a chance that we get 5 games of the exact same openers, guys. Just be mentally prepared for that, okay?
Definitely is. And the scout goes out, so thus goes down the Forge.
Yeah, it's gonna get the first scout, which is really nice for Dragon. So gonna be able to kind of optimize. It wouldn't really change anything. I assume Hawk is gonna go for overpull, but of course, it's just always comfortable to get that first scout and know exactly what you need to do early.
Yep. Wow.
I was looking at. There's a couple things I saw for Dragon that was kind of interesting to me. First of all, is apparently his PvZ win rate in BSL right now is 80%, which is insanely high. And also for his things that people don't know about me or unusual things is that he views losses as his own fault, and apparently that's unusual to people, which I agree. I get that all the time.
Yeah, I don't think he's wrong. I mean, Dragon, for a very long time, played PvZ, PvT, ZVP. He didn't play PvP as a mirror. So he knows this matchup from both sides really well because he played them both at a really high level.
Yeah.
So I think that's really, really effective, for any player to know two sides of the matchup, right? To really know all the timings really sharply because you're playing them for both.
Yeah, I think it makes a huge difference. I came from Protoss originally, right, before I started playing Terran. And of course, initially TVP was my best matchup because it's the only one I understood. But I've gone back and played some PVTs recently, and it's like I've learned things to do because of things that I hate as a Terran player, right? And it really does make a big difference just knowing both sides because you really get a better understanding of the game state when you can see it from both perspectives.
Absolutely. The timings are crisp. You know what's going on. You know the counter. You just know because now you've done it from both races.
Yeah, exactly. All right, well, everything looking the exact same so far. Kind of crazy.
I wish I was surprised. I am not.
Yeah, Dragon gonna get all the information he needs so far. Sees the third base timing. Hawk gonna try and deny this pro from getting inside again. And I think we're gonna see absolutely no mix-up from the first game. If we do, I think Hawk would be the first one to mix it up. Maybe you'll see like an earlier Hydra Den or something like that. I think that's more likely than Dragon doing anything different.
Yeah, I think we're just gonna have very standard cookie cutter type openings for both. There's the Hydra you're talking about. Maybe he'll mix it up with that, but nothing too wild, right? We're not going to see no 9 pool speeds, no double gates. Everything will be more towards the standard.
Yeah, so we're at least going to see some form of Hydra pressure here from Hawk. We'll want to keep an eye on. what kind of Hydra, like the drone count, that kind of thing. Is it going to be 973? Is it going to be, you know, early Hydra pressure into like 5 hatch, 6 hatch, that kind of thing? Maybe just a wall killing Hydra force. But I will say the making Hydras to kill the wall is a little bit hard sometimes in these spawns because the cannon shooting from top to bottom can be a little bit harder to position on the forge to kill the forge.
Absolutely. Oh, bye-bye, probe.
All right, probe goes down. Didn't really get any additional information while I was out on the field, which is kind of funny because Hawk actually told me something that I kind of noticed. Told me like yesterday, day before, which was that he felt like Protoss should just learn to send their probe back once they've got the initial information they need, because they're not going to find out anything important after that. And we kind of saw it there with Dragon. Even though this probe was alive for a very long time, outside of confirming the third, he really never got any actual information, despite it being out there for so long.
Yeah, it's difficult. I mean, Zergs control their Zerglings so well now. You know, they chase your probe down, so a lot of times it is just worth sending it back, you know, and then trying to get the Sarah out and sending it on the route. The problem is 973 Ozzy, it's crazy. Or these 2 base Hydra, they're crazy. They're so strong.
Yeah, that's kind of why I like the like rescout, right, where you get a few zealots and push the lings out, and then move another probe out, kind of out of vision to try and sneak it around, something like that.
Yeah.
But here he's going to see the Hydras coming. Did we have the second cannon? Okay, yeah, we did start the second cannon. So it's interesting because he does it. He does a much more greedy version of it, but I guess he's very comfortable then against Hydra pressure for him to do it this way.
Yeah, those cannons have the potential of dying very quickly, though. Once he has range here, he can just run the Zerglings up first, then the Hydras, and snipe them, right? Usually you want like a half a hex in between your cannons and Gateway or Forge. Dragon trying to preserve that Forge, but...
We should be able to with these spawns, right? With those 3 cannons there. This is kind of why I was surprised that Hawk did it in these spawns. Okay, we're still making Hydra, though. Because that Forge isn't really in threat of getting killed, right? Because I don't think he can reach that without... Okay, we're going to go for it. But with 5 cannons here and 5 zealots, yeah, it's not going to work.
Range done. Cannot hit it, as you're saying, Ozzy. The range is big, and Hawk continuing to make Hydra.
Yeah, he's really committing to this.
Dragon getting up the 4 gateways in his base as well.
Yeah,
looks like
he's
got
scouted the
ropes.
Yeah, it's good from Dragon there. He's scouting the hatcheries. He's seeing the Hydras coming. He's seeing no more drones, so he just continues adding the extra cannons as he sees the Hydras popping, right?
Here we go.
Here we go. Couple cannons going down, but I mean, Dragon still with plenty of cannons left over. It does at least pick those cannons off so it can start threatening this Forge. But that +1 is going to finish in time, so really great for Dragon so far.
Yeah, I think we're just going to see Dragon just have so many zealots soon. 4 gateways just pumping out numbers. Hawk continuing with some Hydra. Okay, finally making some drones in there, but really getting this Hydra count up.
Yeah, but you're super happy as Dragon, right? Like, when you... The worst thing is when you make all these cannons and then they don't attack into you. But when they attack into you and then drone... I think what Hawk was planning was, I'll kill these cannons on the side so that I can deny the +1, right? But in this case, Dragon got to trade these cannons for the actual Hydras and then still get us +1, so Dragon's got to be feeling really, really happy right now.
Yeah, getting his gateway count up. Probably going to get on the map with some high pressure from some zealots, force out Hawk to continue to make more Hydras and drones.
Yeah, this is actually a pretty scary zealot count at the moment. We're droning a bit behind us, so it's a lot of +1 speed lots right now for a relatively low Hydra count. So I'm thinking we're going to see like one more round possibly from Dragon, and then he's going to pull the trigger. He's up 22 supply, and that's, yeah, it's a lot of zealots and Hawk still droning here. And doesn't even have Sunkens in position yet, right? So a little bit scary for Hawk.
I don't know if he can afford Sunkens at this point. I think he's got to fight it out. You know, like his drone count is decent at 38, but to go down like another 3 drones and put up static, I think is really gonna put you behind. Like, you really got to try to think to fight this out.
He doesn't really have a Sim City at the natural either. This is gonna be a really tough hold, I think, for Hawk. Yeah, there we're starting the creeps now.
Those are the emergency panic creeps.
Yeah. The I don't want to die creeps, but he doesn't have enough money to really make any hydras. He even started a 4th base, man. He was going full greed behind this. Well, I say greed, it's more like catch up.
It's definitely some catch up and some greed. Dragon going towards the natural, not towards the 4th base, but gonna get here just as these Sunkens finish, and he's realizing I better run away because I'm about to get collapsed on.
Yeah. Yeah, nice of Dragon, I think, not to get baited into that. It looked vulnerable because of the open Sim City, but he knew how many Hydras were behind him potentially, so he wants to come back and fight the army. But gonna bleed off a few Zealots here. Hawk microing pretty well, gonna trade pretty well, so it looks like all the kind of catch up here from Hawk is actually gonna work out for him. He's got a lot of Hydras out now, actually, with that 4th base finishing.
He does. His drone count is pretty healthy. Dragon still only, I think, on the 4 gateways are done. I don't know if the other 4 have completed yet. So, yes, just a couple not quite there to where he needs to be, and the gateway count is a little bit late because he went for all that Zealot production. Hawk must be happy right now with his position.
Yeah, you know, I was really thinking that was going to go better for Dragon, but seems like Hawk got the perfect amount of Hydras and Sunkens out to make it where Dragon couldn't really fight him, so suddenly Hawk even on supply with 50 drones, and he's reached a game state where this is completely fine for him now.
Yeah, now we're just scouting, seeing what we can find. What do we got going on?
Yeah, gonna see the lair. We do have the robo already done though, so we can start working towards those observers soon. Getting his goon count up does at least have a decent Templar count, so we're gonna see that typical mid-game, you know, death ball that Protoss is always going for. One thing that's really nice for him though is he knows there's no threat of Muta or anything like that at the moment.
Ooh, see you later, Sarah.
The scouting Sarah has gone down. We never saw a Spire, right? There's no Spire started. I don't think we saw one.
I don't think so. I think we're pretty much on the Hydra Lurk train. Maybe we're going to look for a contain. Dragon being pretty consistent here, trying to get that, like, 11-minute 3rd base. A little delayed this game. Obviously, the game state has been much different. Going for a 2nd Evo chamber is Hawk with the Lurkers. I don't quite think we have enough units here as Dragon to fight this army,
feels
man.
a little too early. Like I said, my understanding is you kind of want around 150 minimum before you're really pushing out like this. We'll see. We'll see how he trades here. It does have a lot of the High Templar coming in. That's a lot of Hydra, though.
Yeah.
Ooh,
oh,
nice
no! Those Hydra get wrecked. And we are at the doorstep of this 4th base. Hawk trying to buy time by running around.
Dragon has to be a little bit careful. We're kind of reaching that point of no return now. We got Zerg all around us now, so it's going to be kind of hard to fight this efficiently with how we put ourselves in here. But obviously, if he wins this fight, then it's pretty much game ending. Gonna have to see some great storms from Dragon, and they are pretty good so far, blanketing these Hydras over and over. Reinforcements coming as well from both players to the north.
Oh my goodness, here, Ozzy, this is not looking good for Hawk, maybe with these reinforcements, but I did see some Zealots coming down, so he's gonna need to get in here quickly. If he loses both these hatcheries, life is over. Dragon cannot lose that.
Yeah, these Templar are really important right now.
These Templar are like, yeah, this is life or death right here.
He's gonna get a storm on those drones. Looks like he's gonna let him go. Okay, but he is gonna deny this base while taking his own 3rd, so Dragon has now achieved a game state that is very heavily Protoss favored.
Yeah, especially getting his own 3rd base up, so trouble, trouble, trouble.
Yeah, that to me was such a scary push in there because, like I said, once you go in there, there's no coming out unless you win the fight, but he did win that fight, so Dragon did make the right call there committing. He was very confident in his army control. I was worried because his supply was not as high as I'd like to see for those pushes, but he made it work.
Yeah, he felt it. Ozzy, he's like, I'm going for it. Oh, this could be a massive storm.
Could also be no storm.
Could be dead Templar everywhere. Okay, we got lurkers coming in here. Oh my goodness, huge clump. Not what you want to do.
Yeah, good pullback from DragOn there, not committing those zealots to those lurkers, because that could have been very inefficient for him.
Missed the observer.
Yeah, Hawk wanted to not let this army get back, but DragOn did a good job reinforcing it to make sure he could escort it home and getting more good fights. And we see it now, he's up 50 supply, he is now reaching that supply that's scary, and Hawk is very low on supply. He's trying to retake that fourth, gonna snipe this Templar on the bottom side, it does have no energy, so that's nice for him.
Yeah, good little picks. He needs anything now because this army from DragOn is getting scarier and scarier, Ozzy. Oof,
yeah, it's starting to reach the point of terrifying, especially with that third gas coming low now, so we're going to see a lot of goons with the Templar coming out soon. Upgrade's also pretty nice for DragOn.
Yeah, we're at that 150 supply. Very strong point here. We see this fourth base again.
Yeah, he just might pivot down here, especially when he sees the army coming down here, right? So one thing that's kind of scary sometimes is like committing to killing a base, but if you know the army's down there, then it starts feeling a lot better because you don't have to worry about those counterattacks.
Yeah, I agree with that. The counters are ugly, but I think DragOn's ready to go full out attack mode here. Okay, thinks better about it. He's like, I don't know about that.
Yeah, he does a good job of not overcommitting his zealots. I like to see that. It's very good army control from DragOn. You see a lot of players when they're trying to control these huge armies, they just let their zealots run off on their own. But great fighting from DragOn. Supply getting slowly further and further ahead. We're now up about, well, still about 50 supply, I guess, but yeah, still good for DragOn. Even taking 12 o'clock, is that what I just saw?
Yep. Taking 12 o'clock where we're fighting.
DragOn seems really good at this. Expanding while fighting, right?
Yeah, he's doing a great job right now holding on to what he's got to do. I wonder if he'll go for this area here. It is the rally point in between two bases. I know he knows he'll get swarmed on both sides, but he may have enough storms and goons to just hold this.
Yeah, what if he sandwiches the sandwich? Then what?
Oh, double-decker incoming. Protoss and Zerg in between.
Right. Yeah, we're kind of in the same game state as last game, except that Hawk doesn't have Hive this time, so it's kind of just worse for him in every way. Like, he cannot fight this army right now, and he doesn't really have anything, he's not working towards anything either. No Hive started or anything, so it just doesn't feel like the situation gets easier for Hawk, it only gets worse.
Yeah, this is a tough game state with no Hive, right? Like, you really should be on Hive already. Oh no, we got, oh my god! The 3 Templar that had energy go down. That's a big deal now, Ozzy. We don't have any AoE. We're going to back up.
Yeah, that's huge. Without storms, we cannot contest anymore. That was a massive mistake from DragOn and a great pick from Hawk. So now we have all these goons and zealots, but they can't really fight against these hydras without storm. And yeah, you see it, DragOn being forced to retreat now, and this is a great moment for Hawk. We have a few fresh Templar here, we got 1 storm each. But suddenly supply catching up quite a bit for Hawk.
Oh,
huge storms though.
Massive storms. But for some reason, this Zerg army looks like it's doing some work.
Yeah, Hawk might be finding the angle a little bit. These storms are just about out. I think he's got, what, 1 more storm left probably, but okay, there's a couple really good storms though. Okay, we got another one as well.
Still, man, not enough. Oh
yeah,
my
Hawk
goodness. Hawk finding a way.
Wow. One blunder from DragOn and Hawk pounced on it. And suddenly the supply, this is so playable for Hawk now. He's got his 4th base up and running. He's actually got a decent bank. Breaking this might be a little bit hard with these 2 Templar here. Oh my god.
Oi. Oi. Oi.
Oh no.
Well, we had a supply lead. And then we attacked 5 cannons and 2 Templar with maxed out storm energy. Oh, yeah, Hawk not gonna like to see what he just saw right there.
He did not know that was there.
He did not know, and now he is definitely... Oh no. Let me catch some of these Templar.
All right. I mean, Dragon... I don't know. Dragon's on 2-base mining still. Dragon's so comfortable at the moment.
Yeah, he is. While that fight didn't go well and he's got to defend a little bit, he's really okay with the defending. You know, he has 2 mining bases still. Hawk's about to take his 5th. I don't know if we have Hive even on the way yet. So
I don't think we did, yeah. That's
I think
kind of
we're
the
just
thing, right?
yeah. So the longer the game goes, the more upgrades you get as pros. You kind of just sit and hang out.
Yeah, even even though those were really good moments for Hawk, he does still get outscaled in this situation. He's trying to take a 5th base as well behind this, so it looks like he's just kind of committing to the Hydra Lurker, Lair Tech, and just fighting. But this is going to go more and more in Dragon's favor if we can't deny one of these bases, I think. I mean, if Hawk continues to grow and keeps fighting and he can deny a 5th base from Dragon, maybe this is what he's thinking his win condition is. But it just seems like that's going to be so hard to pull off.
Yeah, it's definitely difficult now. I mean, I could see Dragon. I was just kind of rotating towards the right and kind of trying to maybe take that 5th base and sitting even longer, especially if he were to know that it's just Lair. Like,
yeah,
Protoss just grows so well into the game.
Yeah, that's kind of the thing. He might think that
First
Hawk is getting close to Hive, right? And that's why he's pushing out. If he knew, I agree 100%. I think he just sits and maxes out and then just battering ram crushes Hawk.
Templar. Bye-bye. Good splitting of the Hydra by Hawk.
Hawk's gonna clean this up.
Wiping this army again. Oh. No.
I've seen single VPs win games.
Man. For Dragon doing absolute work. I love the old hidden DT. Oh,
okay.
Only 3.
No, that's pretty quick.
Yeah.
And good on Hawk. Taking a 5th and 6th base is Hawk. And Dragon is going to need to take another base potentially here relatively soon. I think that 3rd base getting pretty low on minerals. Okay, no, a bit more than I thought. So he's still definitely got some time. I do wish he'd be a little more patient, though, and get a supply up before trying to break out.
Yeah, he keeps wanting to fight. I don't know if he's trying to catch Hawk in the middle of drone rounds, but I really don't think there's much more drone rounds happening. It's really just Hydra, Hydra, Hydra.
Mm-hmm.
But these two entering into a longer game once again, kind of going punch for punch.
Yeah, Hawk setting up another
storm.
big... Big surround here. Gonna see some pretty massive storms here on the right side, but there's a lot of army from Hawk. That being said, the storms are big enough. It's gonna kind of come out even, where mostly out of storms, maybe even completely out of storms here, but Dragoons are pretty well upgraded. I think he was 3 armor 2 attack right now, so trading decently well. I'm gonna push this back. Still up 40 supply, so Hawk caught up by like, what, 10 there?
Yeah,
just needs to make sure
I just don't know where this supply is, man. Like, where are all these units for Dragon? Like, I feel like we're 150, 130, but we have like 5 Dragoons, an Archon, you know, 2 Templar. Like, where is this army?
I know, I keep thinking the same thing, right? Like, he does have a handful of Zealots up there at least. Yeah, another small skirmish here. I love that Dragon's not overcommitting, but Hawk doing a good job of keeping the Templar count down. I think we just have 1 Templar here. Maybe 2. Yeah, 2 Templar coming in. Okay, 3. So Dragon is reinforcing pretty well as well. The supply, the supply discrepancy staying pretty much the same, just staying right around 50. Dragon finally securing that extra base, and still no signs of Hive tech from Hawk. He really is just going to go all in on this Hydra Lurker.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a struggle here as the game goes on. The upgraded Protoss army will take over. Ton of gas units, nothing to get plagues down. You know, I think it's going to be harder.
Dragon goes out so far away from his macro, it makes me so nervous how comfortable he is coming out here. We're on the opposite sides of opposite corner of a Radion here, trying to fight the Zerg army, and he is going to clean it up. I mean, he is still fighting well. It's just, I would be so nervous about getting swallowed up out here. Like, this army looks puny.
It looks tiny, I know, but somehow it keeps holding its own, and we're at 148.
Alright, gonna bust through here and get on top of this base. Gonna push these Hydras back. A lot of reinforcements coming in. Little dying breath storm there on the backside. A little light on storms. We have, what, like 3-ish probably? That being said, that's a great storm to start.
Doesn't matter when you hit 12 Hydra at once. And there's the GG from Hawk and DragOn out to an early 2-0 lead here, Ozzy.
Yeah, you didn't expect it, you know. I said I
Nah.
did, so
Oh, the all-knowing Ozzy Dahaki just
yeah,
knows where these games are going. I did not expect this at all. I expected Hawk to definitely take some of these games right away. But hey, it's the best of 5. He still has a chance, still have an opportunity to
absolutely.
make that happen. So the
And
next
they
map
haven't
is
been like
Rem
stomps either, right? They've been close games.
Yeah, both were very, very, very close. So, it could have went either way with a small little thing, just so,
Mhm.
a change. So, next up, Metropolis. We got to see this map. This map is interesting. Contains available. Um, Shorter rush distances. So we'll see if anyone tries to mix anything up. But if I'm DragOn, why would I?
Yeah. I think
You know,
contain. Do you like contain on this map for Zerg? I actually think it's kind of hard for Zerg to contain here.
I think outside the naturals, depending on the base, you can get a pretty good contain.
Yeah.
And make Protoss fight either coming down from the third choke or the main choke, where you
Mhm.
can kind of combat their army there. I think is okay. I mean, Muta Harass, obviously a pain to deal with if you have to
Yeah.
go Sair because of the way the bases are set up. So, anything on the table?
All right. Sounds
All
good.
right, players are ready. Let's get into game number 3, Hawk vs. DragOn on Metropolis. And spawning in the top left, 1 game away from advancing, it's DragOn.
And spawning in the top right, down 0-2. Gonna have to win 3 in a row to win this series. We have Hawk.
All right. No
And that
4
is
or
a
5 pools,
yeah. That is a scary order, by the way. Imagine telling someone you have to beat DragOn 3 times in a row before he beats you once. That is not a situation you want to find yourself in.
Not exactly where you'd like to be.
Alright, I think after that last game, I'm expecting to see Hawk to go back into Lair. No early Hydra shenanigans this time. I think that first game was going really well for him overall. Just DragOn had just such a strong late game push. I think Hawk maybe fixes a few things, feels like he can probably come back and win with a few adjustments. So that's what I'm expecting to see. We'll see if I'm right. Gonna be an 11 pull for Hawk. It looked like he wanted to 12 hatch, but he got first scouted, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think he was hoping for the 12 hatch, considering Cannon Rush not viable here.
Yeah, it's a really good map for 12 hatch. So kind of unlucky for Hawk to get first scouted here, and great for our Protoss hero. Gonna drop that Forge now, so gonna go for Forge Nexus Cannon. Is
Seems
DragOn.
familiar. Seems familiar.
Yeah, we may have seen that already. And Hawk is he's gonna take 12 as his first expansion, is that? Yeah, that's what we're gonna see. So maybe I'm wrong. We might actually see some kind of aggression out of Hawk. Because he is expanding right next to DragOn. Are we gonna see the infamous 973 this game?
I think that's what we're going to see here. I think we're going to see the infamous 973. Strong in this map, but once again, though, vertical cannons.
Yeah, exactly right. It really does make a big difference.
Yep. It's a big deal. But
It is a big deal.
he's got to know something's up considering the hatchery's not there yet. Like, oh, where did it go? But he's going to check here. You see this forward hatchery, and you're kind of like, all right, I know what you're up again. You're up to.
Yeah, he probably thinks it's at 3 o'clock right now. So yeah, he's gonna go check that first because 12 o'clock is just really unusual. But when he sees it's not at 3, then he should assume that it's 12. He'll probably double check that.
He might check
Maybe
the
he can
bottom
get
right
there.
main.
That's true, yeah.
Natural.
Yeah, even that's good enough, right? Checking bottom right. The more places you confirm that it's not, the more likely it's 12 o'clock.
Yeah, because you know it's been up for a while.
Yeah. Nice catch from Hawk.
Ooh.
Alright, so Dragon can assume, but it's not comfortable not knowing, you know?
Yeah. You always
it's
kind of
gonna be
want to
layered.
sort it.
Alright.
Wow. Okie dokie.
Here's the thing. I set myself up to be right no matter what. If it was 973, I was like, yeah, see, I told you. And then if he goes lair, it's like, yeah, I told you in the beginning he was gonna go lair, so. Sometimes you gotta create situations where you're right no matter what.
Well played, sir. Well played.
All right, so we're gonna see nice standard Spire stuff from Hawk. I wonder then why he decided to take 12. Maybe he wanted to fake Dragon out, potentially.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what, because now Protoss can reinforce really quickly there,
Yeah,
which
exactly.
makes life difficult. So I'm a little surprised we went there and then we're still going with the lair. Maybe he's going to do some type of like Mutalisk, Scourge, Mass, just 3 base gas and just try to catch Dragon.
Gonna catch these Zealots out here. Gonna try and have a little micro battle. Hawk is gonna come out on top. 4 lings for 2 Zealots is great for Zerg.
Pretty good, pretty good.
And yeah, this was the thing that kind of scared me the most about this expansion is how close it is to the attack path from the Protoss, so that it's just hard to get reinforcements there fast enough. But Hawk just preemptively making a lot of lings, not gonna worry about it, and potentially gonna catch this Zealot with these lings. So another donation here from Hawk or from Dragon, sorry. And this has been a great start for Hawk so far.
And I'm really worried about Dragon getting a run by right here, considering, yeah, see, so is he.
Oh, yeah.
Because we have a ton of speedlings, we only have 1 cannon. If he kills the probes, he could run it right. He's not going to opt to, he's just going to drone behind this because he knows there's really not much more Zealot pressure that can be done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the thing that's so good for Zerg in these situations. When you kill those Zealots, you know that... When you kill those Zealots and you already have lings left over, you know that the Protoss has to rebuild their Zealots and then some more to combat the lings you already have. Whereas as Zerg, you've already got your lings out, you've cleared the Zealots, so you can just drone without anything to worry about.
Yeah, that's not a bad thing when you're playing Zerg, right? And you're just be able to get it done. Dragon does find the Overlords, but I think it's going to be a little too late.
Yeah, the Scourge are going to be able to come out and defend these. He's actually sending multiple Corsair over here. He sees all these Overlords and he can't help but bite.
I don't know about this. Sometimes
it's scary because...
It's too good to be true.
He's actually committing for more. That's crazy, because these Corsair should not be allowed to come home anymore. With the correct micro and kind of angle cutting here, we get these, at least one of them, right? So we're gonna see a little path in battle
one,
here.
Right?
At least one, surely.
Oh!
Nice juke from Dragon. He's getting close to freedom here. If he can get one more proper juke.
And then he gets the other one. Oh!
Oh! Well, Hawk may have misclicked there because we just moved commanded straight through the Corsair, so I guess they're all gonna get home, but man, Dragon played a dangerous game.
We're gonna see a DT open here. We have the archives already done. We kill a couple Scourge with enough speed lot already on the way.
Yeah, and you see we made 2 sunken here because this is just like really uncomfortable how close it is. It's only 4 Zealots because we did clear a bunch of those Zealots earlier, so it's not very scary, but he's just playing it extra safe. And yeah, everything looking a lot like game 1 so far.
Very familiar once again.
Yeah. So it's gonna poke in here, gonna see the SimCity and Sunkens and be like, okay, we're just checking.
Seeing what you're up to. Looks like Dragon really does want to continue pressure. Oh, we can snipe that hat tree.
Oh yeah, if he jumped on it right away, yeah. I'm sure it's gonna be low, so he's gonna have to at least cancel this.
Yes.
Man, that was close. That went to 7. Little dangerous.
Oh,
He's trying to bait him in again.
I think he's trying to bait him again.
I'm gonna trade some more zealots for my hatchery boy. And Muta's gonna pop out this time, so he's gonna Muta play. Didn't play Muta that first game, right?
Not at all. We have no cannon at the Nat.
Did Hawk go for +1 armor this time?
He did.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, so he's looking to beat the Scourge in the sky here, or the Corsair. Sorry.
Dragon may know because he did see the 3rd gas.
Yeah, I was gonna mention that we did take the 3rd gas pretty early, so he may be fully aware. I think those zealots were poking around also to see if Muta were popping or not, right? But we see the Corsair count. He's made a lot of Corsairs. 6 or 7? Oh, yeah, he's making more. We're like 7 or 8 now.
Oh, man, he's just gonna keep making them. Oh, here we go. Tons of Muta, tons of Scourge. Let's see if he's gonna go for it. We do have 2 cannons.
Yeah, with the 2 cannons and Diamond Corsair, with 8 Corsair.
Do we have a Storm
We'll see.
too is the question?
Wow,
Oh
okay.
my goodness.
And suddenly all those Corsair are gone. People are going to come up and get some storms off on these Mutas. Actually, pretty good. There's actually 1 Corsair left, and he's just barely going to hold this off, actually.
Somehow, I don't even know how, but we are going to make it out. But how do you ever get back on the map now is the trick, right? If he makes another round of Muta, you're in trouble.
Yeah, that's the annoying part, right? You just go into Dark Archon from here instead of rebuilding the Corsair count. I don't really like rebuilding the Corsair, but that is what he's going to opt into. Now, maybe you're thinking it's a more immediate solution, I guess, right? As opposed to the Dark Archon, because the Dark Archon definitely takes some time to get up and going, whereas the Corsair you can start moving out relatively early.
Yeah, I think to get the count you need, the Dark Archon might be better, but it's very hard to decide that in this moment. You're like, oh man, do I just go for it? It's, did he make more Muta? Not that Dark Archon is useless, it'll be helpful later, but still a pain. I love that Dragon took a 3rd right behind this. Like, this is what you want to do versus these Muta type plays, because they really can't attack.
Be low.
Yeah, they really can't push into you.
That would make sense.
But if Dragon can hold this, like, he is in phenomenal shape.
Oh yeah. Another Corsair gonna go down. Wonder if Hawk goes back into making some more.
Seeing this, and he is not happy. He is not happy.
No, not at all.
And Dragon knows he doesn't really have to go anywhere, right? Like, he can just defend. But we're going on the map anyway.
Yeah, Dragon definitely likes to posture very aggressively, and like I said, there's a few things that I don't like about it, but he is clearly a much better player than me, so who am I to question what he's doing? Coming out to fight here with his Storms, getting some pretty good Storms, going to clean up these Muta, have a few Templar left over, and a few Storms left over. And a lot of Hydras, though, coming in from the bottom here. And I think all these goons are forfeit now. We're out of Storm. Actually, we're just barely going to win this fight on. This is such an even fight.
It's crazy that we were able to hold it here. More reinforcements coming from both sides to continue fighting in the middle of the map. This could be a pivotal moment for both players.
Yeah, Dragon is out of Storm, so he doesn't want to keep overcommitting here. And you do see those extra Hydras come across the map, so I think this is the right call from Dragon. And Hawk's drone count actually relatively low compared to the probe count this time. Kind of for the first time this series, actually. He's way down on drones.
Yeah, that 4th base really has nothing there. I don't want to say we're all in, but I want to say that he's gonna have to really push in.
Yeah. He's gonna find these units on the left side, so getting a few of these units for free, which is really nice, like 3 or 4 guns going down on the zealots. But there are a lot of cannons up here, so he can't really push into any of the positions at the moment. I'm surprised he's posturing this aggressively against this many cannons.
I think he knows he has to get something done.
Yeah, I think you're right, actually. But with these zealots coming in from behind, we do have Templar out here. They are exposed, though, so one going to go down for free. Doesn't quite have storms yet. Got one storm there, but the other one goes down. A great storm dodge from Hawk. And he's got DragOn on his back foot a little bit here, actually.
Yeah, he might be able to get this done here. If he can split the bases and bust this third, it's going to be very, very close here. We have all Hydra, no Lurker. We have a ton of Zealots. This is going to be really close. He's going to be able to get up here, try to bust this base.
Yeah, DragOn understands how this is coming too. He has basically one storm right now as well, going to be coming up from behind. Got 3 Templar, but doesn't have the energy. Nice Lurker egg to be super annoying on the ramp there. And he's going to break these, kill a bunch of these probes. And he's got the 4th base to fall behind to, like fall back on. He's just got to drone it up now, right? We see even a few drones came out during this push.
It seems like, oh, well done by Hawk there. It seems like Hawk may have done it here with that attack. Oh, no. He's got a snipe there. Another snipe, and I think that may do it here. Hawk just eliminating this army, even though DragOn putting himself in a phenomenal spot, just can't get it done there. And now
Hawk's done such a good job of keeping the storm count way down.
Yeah, he has been very good with that, and now he's going to be in a prime position to have a really solid contain.
Yeah, Hawk added another 5 or 6 drones behind this, so DragOn has a few Templar and some goons out here going to try and fight this back, but these Templar are going to get picked off again, and he just really was never able to retain any of the storm this game, and Hawk definitely punished him for it.
Yeah, and Hawk knows that he can just trade here, even if a little bit inefficiently, as long as he's wiping out the Dragoons and other units for whatever he trades is totally fine.
Yeah, setting up some lurkers here. There's no observers even out here at the moment. Okay, one just now joining, but there's so many Hydras here, it doesn't matter. No storms to fight this, and I think we're going to see a GG relatively soon from DragOn. It's going to be so hard for him to break out of this. He doesn't know about the 4th base, does he? I don't know if he ever saw it or not.
I don't think he does.
Okay, well there's the GG.
There's
and
the
Hawk
GG.
Gonna take the first game towards his 3-0 reverse sweep. Surely.
That's it. Hey, it has to start somewhere.
Exactly.
Has to start somewhere. So you got to be feeling good. You took game 1. You're back on your map pick, right? Dominator, kind of set up for what Hawk likes. He can sit there and get these lurker lines up, get to a late game if needed, or he can go for a 9-7-3 and try to bust and find pressure.
Yeah.
Whatever he'd like.
I think we'll see. Well, I'm not sure actually. Hawk's kind of mixed up. He's done something a little bit different every game this so far. So we'll have to keep an eye on what kind of small variety he wants to go for here. But looks like our players are ready, so we can jump straight into this game of DragOn versus Hawk on Dominator.
Alrighty, and spawning mid-right, it is Hawk.
And spawning in the, what would you call this, like the 6:15 spawn, we have DragOn.
6 and a little bit of clock. Alrighty, let's see what we got here. Will Drang continue to go for Forge, or will he continue with the Gateway?
Surely just keeps forging, right? It just seems like this is all he's interested in doing.
Yeah, I think that's what's got to be done. Like you've been successful, why change it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's probably fully aware that last game was... well, I don't know. He likes to push out pretty early. Was this a 9 pool? This was 9 pool, right?
Yeah, 9 pool.
Yeah, we have a 9 pool here from Hawk. All right, so
maybe DragOn will mix it up.
I would never personally do this against Hawk or against Dragon. He seems to be doing pretty much the same thing every single game, so he hasn't shown any vulnerability to any sort of early pull shenanigans. He's waiting for a scout to get in here, gonna see it and drop that forge. Gonna see the pull timing, and now he just wants to keep an eye on, is it gonna be 4-lings or 6-lings? Should pretty much expect 6-lings, but you just want to double check before you make that extra cannon. Yeah, so he sees all 3 larvae start, so you can pretty much assume this is going to be 6-ling. But gonna hang out and just make sure. And another important thing is, does he keep making lings or not, right? So you just want to keep this probe alive, see the gas timing, see the hatchery timing, see if he keeps making lings.
Yeah, we're gonna need the double cannon like DragOn put down. This wall is a little bit awkward in this base, exactly, so.
Looks like
everything very standard.
Trying to hunt down that probe.
It wants it, man. He wants that probe. That probe. Oh, oh. Run, little buddy, run.
And gonna see an early third behind us. So how do you feel? I'll be honest with you, anytime I play against like 9 pull openings, I don't ever feel like I'm ahead as Protoss in this situation. I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be Protoss favored, but it never felt that way to me.
Yeah, I mean, it's really just making sure your probe count continues, right? Like they gave up drones, so to make sure your probes keep going, just keep pushing it forward, even if it means like an earlier third pylon to keep the larva the psi open. Just keep doing that, just so you can get probe, because overpool 9 pool less larva, right, for the Zerg.
Right.
Ooh, that drone said no thanks, buddy.
Zerg players are so good about always having a drone on a ramp at the right time when you try to scout them.
Zergs love that.
Yeah. Alright, so from here, gonna be, relatively standard. We're gonna see if it's gonna be Lair or Hydrogen from Hawk. We'll be seeing that relatively soon. What his decision's gonna be. To me, it looks like it's more likely to be a Lair. And there it is, right at 100 gas.
Wonder if we'll see some more Muta Scourge play, considering he did so well with the last game.
Which is interesting, because did he do well with it? Like, I'm not even so sure. It worked out in the end, but it didn't feel like it went well.
I think he killed the Seraph really well, and then he just needed to micro a little bit with the Muta still from the Storm and everything else.
Yeah. I mean, it was a pretty big investment from DragOn too, right? To make 8 Corsair and then lose them all. So, yeah, maybe you are right. It still actually did go pretty well for Hawk overall. Didn't find the exact game-ending damage he wanted, but it's such a niche thing to do. I can't imagine Hawk doing it 2 times in a row, right? It seems like he's trying really hard to mix it up every game. Whereas Dragon is basically a robot. And I respect that. I try to play the same way.
Robotic.
Yeah.
Hey, when it works and you can consistently get to 2400, why not?
Exactly. I think getting good at standard play like this is one of the best ways to play and learn the game. Obviously, adding in like some keys and craziness every now and then is also good to do, but yeah, I respect the style that DragOn kind of leans into here. Alright, Hydrogen finishing up. Did we start? I assumed we started the Spire, right? It's probably just going to be Scourge with the Spire. Actually, no Spire yet.
This may be like 5 hatch with speed for the Overlords to try to bust before Storm timing.
Yeah, we are starting to make a few Hydra here. It's just going to be anti-Corsair for now, but I do personally think the 5 hatch build is actually really hard to deal with. The timing of it is very uncomfortable for you as Protoss, because it comes at a time where it's like you don't feel like you should have to make a bunch of cannons, but you still have to respect the pressure.
You have to respect the pressure very much so. Like, these are one of those where like, oh, I think maybe I can hold it, and then there's so many Hydra because of the number of hatcheries that you just get run over.
Yeah, exactly.
So we do see Dragon just getting that gateway count up, you know. But still, I mean, it's tough. Zealots are not enough for the amount of Hydra that can come out of this.
Hmm. Yeah, so we
Not a
do
big
see those
worker
hydras
difference
pumping.
either.
Yeah, it's actually a pretty good situation for Hawk at the moment. I kind of like the game state for him. I'm telling you, man, 9 pull's not even a disadvantage for Zerg.
So many.
But one of the best ways for Dragon to deal with it, he is scouting it, right? So he's just gonna be able to pump a lot of his own units. Does need to get into his own storm pretty quickly. Can be out of the map potentially with these zealots to at least make it uncomfortable for Hawk to like kind of pressure his front. But the Hydra
Yeah.
count already getting pretty high pretty fast.
One little thing you could do is cut some zealots off like 3-4, wait for the Zerg to come in, and then send the 3-4 into the drone lines, because usually there's not static with this, because they're making so many units that they don't need the static. Like you look at drone count, it's a little bit lighter because they're making so many units. So if you can plug away 3, 4, 5 drones, like you take a massive lead.
Yeah, for sure.
I've seen some Korean Protoss. What they do is when they know it's like super aggressive Hydra, they go hide a probe somewhere in some of the base. Oh, it's not done yet. This is when it gets nervy. Yeah, but they actually hide a probe somewhere and they make like a proxy gateway to just kind of rally out DTs.
That actually sounds very annoying.
Yep.
I think Storm is going to finish just in time, but you kind of see what I was talking about. Dragon's cannon count is very, very low, like very light, thinking, oh, I shouldn't have to make cannons at this stage. Storm is going to finish just in time, going to get a big storm softening up a lot of those Hydras, but the cannons, we're down to 1 cannon. If we dodge these storms, then Dragon's in a lot of trouble. Only 1 storm left now. Oh, sorry, 2 storms. I didn't see this other one. My bad, my bad. But does get a lot of damage, and not really many units right now behind this for Hawk. A little bit slow coming across the map.
Yeah, and I think this is where you got to start feeling good, right? As long as you hold this here, the drone count is a little bit lower. So Dragon should feel decent about this, and just needs to now macro up and like really push out for that normal 30 he wants to take. Oh, you ain't getting that pylon, he said. That's my pylon.
Yeah, he needs to be a little bit careful coming out, because the pressure keeps going with this build. It doesn't really stop.
Oh my god.
I think this last
all
storm
the
for
cannons.
now.
There's no cannons, there's pylons. The pylons are, the cannons are unpowered. Can Hawk just bust it here? Oh my goodness.
Oh my god. How we're like, we almost have energy for storms. 1 cannon finish, or 1 pylon powers 2 of these cannons.
Oh my goodness.
The reinforcements from Hawk feel so slow though, no?
Yeah, I don't know what's going on here. Where are the rest of the Hydra? I mean, we could be busting through. I'm shocked that this isn't going to be game over here.
Yeah, it really felt like it should have ended there. It seemed like Hawk, maybe not setting his Hydra rallies to the front of the base like I think you should when you're doing this, because his Hydra is very slow reinforcing here. And I think it's going to just barely give Dragon enough time to stabilize now. He's going to get these cannons up. He's going to have a couple more storms. And I guess Hawk might want to try to transition this into a Lurker contain. But man, his eco is just not in good shape right now.
Can he get that forge with spinning with the +1 armor would be massive.
Looks like he is going to be able to deny it.
That is a massive, massive upgrade denial. It was super close. Now he's contained. He does have the robotics, but Hawk may need to be all in here in terms of a contain because his eco is so low. Oh no, the Archon's on hold position. Goodbye, Archon. And this map can be a pain with a lurker contain.
Yeah, it's still not over for Hawk by any means. He's actually redroning behind us. I'm surprised. I thought he was going to do what you said. I thought he was going to commit to the contain, but he is actually redroning. Going back up to 43 drones, so a decent drone count. Still making a few more, it looks like. Sending some more Hydras across and making more lurkers, so I guess he wants to redrone and then try to contain from there, but I don't think he's going to have enough.
Yeah, you know what gets really weird from here, Ozzy, with this build that when Zerg does it from your Protoss is they have speed overlords so quickly that a lot of times they also try to get drop.
Oh,
so So this is where it gets really tough because you're trying to fight the contain and get out, but at the same time they may be dropping lurkers in your two base, your mineral line. So like you want to move out, but you really have to be secure at home because they might even leave 5 lurkers here and a couple Hydra, retreat. You moved your army out, and then all of a sudden these drops come in from Zerg, and you're like, oh my god, like I have 20 Hydra and they have 35 Sunkens at home.
Yeah. I can't tell you how many times I've lost games to the random lurker drops that I don't see coming.
Yeah. And they wipe the probe line in 1 shot each, and you're like, damn it.
Yeah.
But DragOn, man, busting out of this, not being contained.
That being said, Hog got up to a higher drone count than DragOn. But that, man, the Zealot count's pretty scary right now. There's no lurkers out here at the moment, so just these Zealots can easily push this back. He did, like you mentioned, not get that armor upgrade. Good observer side from Hawk.
I'm surprised. We're fighting decently for no armor upgrade, but he is getting a third as well, so usually I feel like your Zealots just melt when they don't have +1 armor. The problem is that one snowballs for a while, right? Because you have the +2. Once Zerg has +2, that's so slow. So like you're almost kind of just sitting back a lot. Oh, bad rally here from Hawk.
Yeah, it seems like he set the rally after he needed the rally. And game's gonna just kind of gonna normalize from here, it looks like. We have no goons yet, right? Like, only a few. Yeah, very light on the goon, but we're gonna get that 3rd base up running. We're gonna get that 3rd gas online so we can start adding those goons that DragOn needs.
Yeah, I mean, he's taking a 3rd base, which is massive here, right? And he's looking around to see what is Hawk doing, because Hawk, no true, I guess the 4th base is just the mineral only, but it's not like he's taking, you know, any of the 12, 1 o'clock base, whatever you want to call those, the other naturals. He's kind of just sitting on the lair tech again, trying to fight it out.
Yeah, staying on 3 gas does kind of lean towards going, or staying on that lair tech like you're pointing out. So, kind of the same as we mentioned before, with no Hive tech on the way, DragOn is completely content to sit here and get his death ball going on these 3 gases. Gonna try and take this 4th, it looks like.
He doesn't really know that Hawk's doing this, and here we go. There's the Queen's Nest is there now, so we got about 3-4 minutes before Hive is done. You know, we'll see if that's he's going to continue to sit or is he going to push out. I think attacking up into these pizza slices with lurkers is a death trap, but maybe he could find an angle.
Yeah, it's kind of a awkward position for DragOn because the best place for him to attack is that low ground base on the top, but you can get countered so easily.
Yeah, maybe he'll go from the opposite side here.
Looks like we don't have goon range yet either. Or maybe I'm wrong. Could be wrong. Okay, yeah, we do have it. I'm gonna say it just now finished and I wasn't wrong, okay?
Okay, whatever. I don't want to slow you down.
Alright, gonna find a good angle actually coming around from the top side here, so avoiding all these lurkers and hydras on the high ground. So gonna be able to deny this hatchery and then you can just back up from that.
Yeah. This is a snipe in and get out type of situation. Losing these goons in the back, kind of difficult. We definitely don't want to go up this ramp, at least in my opinion, but DragOn wants to. It seems like he wants to get up there. Very difficult to break.
A little disjointed there, kind of bled off a lot of units on both sides. Trying to take this mineral-only base, but Hawk gonna counter, kind of like what I said, right? We can pivot towards these bases, but it gets really hard because you're gonna get countered.
Yeah, it's... I don't love PvZ on this map because of those reasons. I feel like there's always a counterattack potential, or they're running around a different part of the map, like you're chasing them around. Like, now how do you reinforce this army?
Yeah, DragOn's supply just dipped down by a lot, by the way. Hawk caught up quite a bit in supply. Losing this base obviously kind of sucks, but he denied DragOn's 4th. He's going to be retaking his own 4th, and he did pick off a lot of goons and even a few Templar there at that 4th base from DragOn. And going to re-deny this 4th. Okay, maybe not. I don't think he spotted. I think he turned around just before it came in vision.
Yeah, I think he's in a little bit tough of a spot here, Hawk. I think being on these, he is taking a fourth base again with a gas in the bottom right, but you know, right now, good anticipated dodge, storm dodge,
Yeah,
but
good
right
dodge.
now, DragOn should be feeling pretty comfortable, except for, like you said, his unit count. I don't know if it's the, oh my goodness, never mind.
Yeah,
I
beautiful
don't know
surround
what I'm,
setup from Hawk here.
I don't know what I'm talking about. This is just crazy. But I just feel like DragOn getting a third base up and a fourth base
Mhm.
should be very comfortable at this point.
Yeah, that was
But
a
something
great
with
cleanup
his
from
unit
Hawk.
count.
Sorry. Yeah, I agree. That was another great cleanup from Hawk. But he can't actually deny these bases despite that. We got plenty of cannons and storms at all the bases, so yeah, it's nice that we reset the army. He does have his Hive tag done, and we got that third EVO on the way, so he's going to be triple upgrading. I imagine we're going to see the Defiler didn't come down. He is still only on that 3 gas, though, which is kind of holding him back, so he's desperately trying to get another gas up and running.
I actually think the army clear is put this in a very heavy Zerg favored matchup now because
Yeah.
we are on Hive. We do have almost 60 drones. Like, even though Protoss is getting up third and fourth, that army clear has really, I think, crippled him. Look at his supply. Hawk knows he can sit here and now really just redrone to exactly what he needs, 65, wherever he'd like to go, and just get into the Defiler, Swarm, Plague. I think that's really tough now for DragOn. I think he's really going to have to try to build up the ball and just protect, but I think this game has swung into a Hawk favored matchup.
Assessment. It's going to be extremely hard for DragOn to win from here. Could end up being a long game, but we're about to get the Defiler. Mount is on the way. So once we get into the Defiler tech, then, you know, the drill, we're going to have to get into Reavers and things like that. But Hawk's economy looking great. Has a lot of bases. And DragOn might can get up to like 5 base, right? Taking this mineral only. But it's hard to see him getting much more spread out than that and being able to defend.
Yeah, I think Hawk really just macroing pretty cleanly here. Getting everything he needs up. You see he's 2-2. Hawk 1-1, so he does have a little bit of time here with his upgrade advantage to fight. It's just that we have 144 supply versus 175. I think he's got to be really careful where he goes with his army so he doesn't get trapped again. Because if he loses another army, that's going to be the game.
Yeah, it's just completely over. Man, and now that we're like really looking at the setup from Hawk, as what you pointed out, it's so hard to attack Zerg on this map. There's just high ground lurkers everywhere you look. Great storm on these Hydras. A lot of goons here. There's no Defiler out yet, but yes, this is how do we push up this ramp? It doesn't feel possible.
I don't think it is. I've been there.
Yeah, the only low ground expansion means you're putting yourself in this like tiny concave where you're surrounded by Zerg everywhere. It's so dangerous to go anywhere.
Yeah, I feel like so many times on this map I've played games like, all right, I'm going to attack over here, and the next thing I know, from 3 different sides that happen to be a lot of high ground as well, I just have Lings and Swarm, and it's like, okay, we're dead.
Yeah, gonna come
like
from
right
high
here.
ground to him.
Here it comes. Gonna swarm around the left side and just trap this army.
Yep. In this army, once again, it just looks so puny from DragOn, no?
Yeah.
Oh no. All these Templar on the left side getting picked off. At least gets a couple decent Zorns. They're dying breaths, but yeah, like you said, we got Zerg flooding in from every direction now. DragOn trying to reinforce. Is trading pretty well. Even the supply up there is a bit.
Trading
DragOn has,
very well.
Yeah, he's been showing a lot of prowess when it comes to fighting, if nothing else.
Yeah, we didn't get those other lurkers up. Oof. Hero Hydra. But in the reality, all that army trade, what did we get? We killed some drones, we traded some army. I don't know if that's enough.
It doesn't feel like enough so far. I mean, Dragon wasn't able to grow behind that or anything. Hawk's tech is just going to keep improving and getting stronger. Defiler should be coming out relatively soon. The Zerglings are going to be coming online. And once your Defiler and Lings are coming out, Zerg army just gets so efficient in fighting.
Yeah.
Yeah, the best unit the Zerg can make late game is also the first unit that they make in the game.
I know. Man, S tier. S tier. And there they are. The Defilers are out, so this Dragoon heavy army means nothing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's already hard enough for them to be fighting uphill against the Lurkers, but yeah, Swarm gonna come down, and now it's like, at least it's one big orange beacon that says, "Hey, Storm here," right?
It is that.
It's like Hawk thought about a counterattack there and thought maybe not a good idea with that Templar there with all those cannons.
This is my other struggle with this map now, Ozzy. Like, I see where Dragon's taking the next base, but that is such a hard one to hold with all these angles. Like, there's like 4 or 5 routes now that Zerg can attack to hold.
Yep. And it's right beside the Zerg base too. Like, imagine he throws a Nidus there. How are you ever going to be able to defend that, right?
Yeah, we start setting these hit squads up to these bases with Swarm. Like, how do we hold all these positions? This is why I find this map gets tougher and tougher. Oh no. No. Oh.
Nice, Plague. Yeah, I agree. It's crazy because it's like late game is hard against Zerg, but you also can't kill them early because it's a good defensive map for Zerg.
Oof.
More plays on these games.
And the Dragon is trading very well, though.
Are we seeing any signs of Reaver from Dragon? It doesn't seem like he's interested in it. Yeah, it looks like we're not going for any Reaver this game, so I don't see how that's going to work out for him in this case.
He just did kill that Defiler, but I mean, it's hacking up this pizza slice right here is just, I don't even know. Here we go. We're going to try. And watch the red surround this blue army on the mini-map.
Yeah,
here
once again, it's just not a
go.
whole lot of army from Dragon, but doing well so far. Not a whole lot of Zerg actually showing up yet. It seems like he's got a lot of supply tied up in Lurkers all over the map.
Yeah. Right now, you know, there's a Defiler out here for Hawk to hold on to this. Dragon needs to keep pressing in. Hawk is taking top left, which is going to make things way more challenging.
Yeah,
good Storm.
definitely.
Because once he controls that base, you're kind of stuck on 5 base versus a lot more.
I mean, Dragon's doing pretty well here fighting. All these Lurkers are going to come in now, and I think this is going to be the cleanup. But Dragon at least traded pretty decently, and this is also allowing him to mine the...
No!
Well, we have one more observer. Alright, I've seen Protoss kill their own observers before. I think this is the first time I've seen them kill like 5 at once in one storm, so I respect them.
He was offended by them. Absolutely offended.
But, I mean, he's doing as well as you could hope for. Hawk is finally going to be able to clean this up, and I can't believe this army stayed here as long as it did.
Yeah. But I go back to, what did it kill? It killed a mineral only, traded a ton of units. Like, I just don't know if that's enough from these armies right now.
Yeah.
I think Hawk is very okay just repositioning these areas and saying, okay, keep attacking into it.
Yeah, as one of my favorite lines have come to be is, doesn't matter. Yeah, I mean, Dragon trying to fight as best he can, gonna try and get a few probes down here, but they're gonna get cut off. And gonna try and take this mineral-only base as well, but he needs so much more than this. He's been fighting pretty decent, but Hawk's economy has just been out of control for a long time now.
Yeah, Dragon's been fighting insanely well. His armies have gotten so much value in terms of army for army.
Mhm.
I just think it's unfortunate the way the map is structured that like he's winning these fights but not really getting anywhere.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's actually insane how many times I've looked at Dragon's army and been like, where are your units? And then he wins the fight anyway.
I'll tell you who's not winning these fights, these observers.
No, they are not. I feel like these observers, they've got to be getting, they got to be putting in some complaints. Like every time he makes an observer pops out. I feel like the line, instead of making the sound from an observer coming out, they got to be saying, "Why did you make me?"
They're like, please don't storm me too.
Playing on a few of these zealots here. Yeah. And Dragon just committing to this ground army combat style, no reavers, just trying to fight, and fighting well. But Hawk now with 2 of the main bases fully online. And Dragon's going to be running out of places to expand soon, and Hawk's not running out of money anytime soon.
Yeah, I mean, we keep killing this base, which is great. But, uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Something you don't like to see as a Defiler coming in with a bunch of lurkers. You only have 1 Templar here. This is another reason you really like to have Reavers defensively, right? You kind of need Reavers to stop these kind of pushes.
At least, oh, never mind, he's sending reinforcements, so that base is going down. Well, maybe not. Zealot's coming in. We're gonna hold here.
More lurkers coming in. Hawk committing to this pretty well. We're gonna see Dragon during this commit to the top left. Dragon supply, dare I say, looking pretty decent at the moment. If he can hold this base and kill top left.
There is no Nidus there, so
yeah, there's no Nidus.
He might be able to take it out. Yeah, this is where it's going to be difficult, but I definitely think we have a kill here for this base, so that's going to be helpful to Dragon for sure, being able to take out this eco, because Hawk is mined out of those 3 other bases, and Dragon just took that mineral only again, so he should be pretty fresh. And if you look at Hawk's supply, it's really dropped.
He's going to commit to the counterattack on this mineral only. This is a very important base for Hawk to kill because he's going to be on 2 base mining only, so he really needs to limit Dragon's mining.
Yeah, and he's going to get a kill in this base too, I think, here. This is crazy. So we're going to lose this base.
Yeah, I think this is a good call from Hawk. He's trading 1 base for 2 bases, right?
Yeah, I mean, these 2 guys are playing out of their minds, right? Both just playing these long macro games, making great moves, countering each other.
Yeah, how much money does Dragon have left on this 1 base, top left? Okay, yeah, getting pretty low, down below a third. It's 4 observers. We have 1 left. We did at least manage to avoid storming that one. But the Zerg Swarm gonna come up here and clean up this army. Dragon trying to reinforce it to keep these things alive, these units alive. But yeah, Dragon has a decent bank, or sorry, Hawk has a decent bank as well. And I mean, Dragon made him work for it.
No, he did. This has been a very close game. Like, there were moments I think it could have went either way. I just think, unfortunately, Dragon's out of money.
Yeah. Yeah. We're starting to reach the point where it becomes less of a skill problem and more of a numbers problem for Dragon.
Yeah, Hawk's bank, like you said, is pretty large still, so he has enough to continue just making lings and a couple defilers and legging and winning. Any trade at this point is good for him as long as Dragon doesn't get another base up.
Yeah, Dragon not starting another Nexus is basically being pushed into a position where he has to kill Hawk, which is never going to happen. It doesn't feel like an option at all.
Might be a little challenging with this army.
Yeah, and Hawk doing a good job of moving his Hydras out of the storms, even causing the Zealots to walk through the storms. Gonna clean this up, and even though supply leading for Dragon, it's definitely not Dragon favored by any means. Gonna try and push maybe towards the north here, maybe just clean up these lurkers. Lots of high Templar, you like to see that. You always get in those game states where it's like, hey, I'm barely mining. Let's make nothing but Templar.
Well, we can storm for days, that's for sure.
And storm for days we will. But with the Lings coming in with the Hydras, not a whole lot to buffer here for the Templar. And yeah, you always see this kind of happen with this, where you start storming your own Templar to try and get the Lings off of your Templar.
Don't worry, 5 more are coming in. Ozzy. 6. Here they come.
Only Templar and Observers. If this was StarCraft 2, the Templar could shoot, but unfortunately, they cannot in StarCraft 1. All these Templar are going to go down.
Yeah, Hawk seeming like he's done it. He's held on. It is very close. And there's the GG. And Hawk pulls another game back, Ozzy.
Wow.
2-2 overall in the series.
We are actually going to Game 5. That's crazy. Well,
We are.
we were both right. They're both good
We both
players,
were
evenly
right.
matched.
We both knew that they were going to get it. All right, we're going to take a 2-minute break, and we're going to come back with the Game 5. I'm being tagged out for a much better Protoss than I, so we will be back. Don't go anywhere.
Yeah, thanks for the cast, Razz.
Absolutely. Thank you, Ozzy.
All right, guys, welcome to some bonus picture. I like it. All right, guys, welcome back to BSL. I'm joined now by Bonnet. He's tagging Razz out. He's going to be joining me for the rest of the games tonight. How you
Hello,
feeling today,
guys.
Bonnet?
Hello. How could I miss some great Protoss action? So yeah, I'm glad he takes Razz place.
Yeah, we have good Protoss quality too. We got DragOn and then your boy DeWalt, so should be pretty high quality for sure.
Oh yeah. My opponents. I'll be looking closely at performance. If he's like shaky, maybe make some mistakes under the pressure. I'll be watching that close.
Yeah, for sure. All right, we're going to just kind of get things rolling here. We still have another series after this, and I know it's going to be late for a lot of people, so our players are ready, and I think we're ready to go and hop into the game of Hawk versus Dragon, Game 5.
Here we go, guys. Game number 5. This game decides who goes into round of 4 winner bracket. We have Hawk in the top right corner, spawning as a red Zerg.
And in the bottom right, we have Dragon going up 2-0 to start, and then Hawk kind of working towards a reverse sweep now. We're on Game 5, so this is do or die for both players.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I wouldn't think too much from Dragon's perspective about like, oh my god, I had 2-0 lead, but now I'm tied to 2. No. Let's reset the mind and just play
Absolutely.
the best. Yeah, get number 5.
Yeah, it's very important to have control of your mindset like that. You don't want to get demoralized or anything because you're basically in a best of one now, right? Like, ignore the previous games, right? You can take information from it if you want, of course, but don't let it affect your mental. Don't worry about anything like that. Just focus on this game now.
Yeah, exactly. In the grand scheme of things, all you need to do is to win 3 out of 5 games, and just, well, it happens to be in that order. What I'm worried about is that the map is deja vu. So, well, it wouldn't be my first pick as a Protoss player because it has a pretty dangerous looking ramp. Yeah, this one. So, Hawk can camp if he likes, and if he can establish his camp there. Who knows? I don't know. I don't feel comfortable looking at this map at how Protoss players play.
Seen it many times, these contains on this high ground. It's so hard to break, and that other ramp on the side, and you only need like a few units to completely block Protoss from coming up that other ramp. So even though it seems like they have 2 paths to go through, it takes very little from Zerg to contain them there if they want to just hold them on 3 bases, which it kind of reminds me of Dark Origin a little bit. You used to see the 3 base contains on Dark Origin, so kind of a similar situation, I think, with this map.
Yeah. Although on Dark Origin, at least you had some sort of access to like 4th base, right? So you could crawl it out, take it to the late game, and in the end, the map was 2-player map and with limited expansions on it. But here, no, there is the entire map to take.
Yeah, I agree.
Let's focus on the game. We have standard overpull from Hawk, and we have Dragon standard Forge expand.
Yeah, Dragon's pretty much done the same thing more or less every single game, which we expected from him. He's not really an overly crazy player, not a risk taker, really. Just believes in his strong standard style.
Which is macro, so why bother with all that multitasking and micro stuff that comes with gateway first.
Yep, so decent damage on that probe just now, so gonna limit potentially the potential scouting from the probe here, but he sees the gas timing and things like that, so he's kind of more or less got the information he needs. Obviously, the longer you keep the probe alive, the better, just the more information you get, because a lot of this matchup's all about information gathering and responding, right, as the Protoss player.
Yeah, so ideally you want to keep the probe alive to see where the first 100 gas is being spent, so is it lair, and keep the probe alive for a couple seconds longer just to see if the lair isn't gonna get cancelled, for example.
Right, that's true, yeah. Hawk did start that lair. Right around 100. Well, I got a little bit extra gases. Minerals weren't quite there, but yeah, layer is on the way. I'm gonna be chasing this
Interesting cannon positioning. So this cannon placement has two functions. One, if Zerglings like try to run by, like it is like in between Forge and Gateway, so they cannot just simply surround the cannon. They have to go a little bit around it. And two, of course, against potential 973. Well, this is kind of aggressive cannon placement because if you did not scout the Hydras and they get here with bigger numbers, you're at risk of just losing the game right away because unranged Hydras will be able to snipe this cannon with ease.
Yeah, I've had Zerg players tell me before that if they see this like really aggressively positioned cannon, that they'll often go for Hydra speed first to try and bust it very quickly. As opposed to like making a few Hydras with range and like breaking the wall and stuff first, right? They see that and they can pounce on it right away, like you said.
Yeah, although that range first it's more of a rarity. You don't see it more like in, I don't know, 10% of games, like choices between speed and range.
Gotcha. Well, at B rank, there is no...
conceptual.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Okay, so Spire from Hawk, Stargate from DragOn. Now let's see if Cybernetic Door is spinning. No, not yet. Is Forge spinning? That's question number 2, yes. Okay. So given the lack of scouting intel, he's gonna just play the standard. He's not gonna bet that it's gonna be there, although I think he's suspecting it.
Yeah, so does he... I actually gonna thought players would like start +1 air and then cancel it if it's not meta, but so does he just start it after confirming layers? Is that typically the way you should go about it?
I mean, I would rather like, especially like you've played Hawk for a couple of games and you are already can suspect that he may go for that Spire, or well, maybe not at all times, but yeah, I like to go for air weapons and then cancel it. It doesn't really cost you anything to cancel that, or just small timing stuff.
Yeah. Alright, so +1 is on the way. We're going to resume that Corsair count now that we know for sure that it's going to be Spire. So go up to that 6 or so Corsair. He did do 8 when he confirmed that it was going to be the extra meter because he saw the fast third gas when they played on Metropolis. But he's typically been playing the 5 or 6 air +1 against like the standard Scourge meter.
And he saw 6 hatchery and at 12 o'clock, so it should give him more or less an idea that Hawk is gonna, even if he opens with a couple of mutas, he's gonna transition to Hydra later on.
Yeah. Alright, so Dragon looking at nice and solid standards so far. Extra gateway is coming down. Templar Archives a little over halfway done. Gonna move out with these zealots with legs finishing at +1 about the same time. So he's pretty much at this timing about every game. It's always like good, I guess, to kind of poke around and just make sure Zerg staying honest.
Yeah, but that's a great SimCity, at least in naturals. But if DragOn goes to 12 o'clock, I think this is where he needs to go if he had map hack.
Yeah, that actually does look a bit vulnerable. Not the best SimCity, no sunken or anything either with it there at 12 o'clock, so there is actually some potential that you find some damage here with these zealots.
Yes, and Hydras from natural are really late with reactions. Let's see what DragOn decides to do. He goes for the hatchery because Hydras maybe are without range yet, so he was hoping that he could potentially kill that hatch.
Yeah, range actually just now started even for these Hydra.
Well, natural is no go. Yeah. Although yeah, he may try to pick a Hydra, maybe a drone or two. But yeah, definitely 12 o'clock was here a little bit more exposed. If he wanted to go for Tracer, I guess he just wants to stay in between natural and third to prevent DragOn. Oh, wow, okay. Not as bad as it could have been.
Corsair going down, I thought we were going to see 2 drop there, but not terrible for Dragon then. But yeah, he's just going to keep the Zealots in between and keep Hawk a little bit uncomfortable while he's just building up his... I assume we're making the Templar and stuff behind this, right? The gas is all gone, so going to be banking energy on these Templar, going towards our Robo to get our Observer on time. And just going to be kind of chilling like he's been doing, going to get up to his typical Death Ball and take it from there.
Oh well, for the time being, the game is not going that well for DragOn. Like his
Mhm.
coursers did not find basically any damage. He killed one starting overlord, and now the critical amount of Hydras has been reached. So Hawk is moving out with everything as to prevent DragOn from like moving on the map with, for example, High Templars. Not that he did that earlier, but yeah.
Yeah,
It's a
gonna find at least one overlord here. Looks like a second one gonna go down as well. Even
Yeah.
3. All right.
That's very good. That's very good. Even if he loses a cursor in the process, you need to deal some sort of damage. Given that, well, mutas are not that likely to appear. Given that no Fergasm from Hawk.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, even if it went into him, it'd be pretty light, right? Not overly scary. But yeah, this is one thing I was talking about earlier, where when it comes to like higher level Protoss players, one thing that I feel like is very important is the amount of value they can usually find with their Corsair over time becomes really important. Because even though you're against a bunch of Hydra, right, you still have windows with your Corsair to get something done every now and then. So you just got to keep searching for it, keep getting some value and some pickoffs, and also obviously keep them alive so that they don't go to muta.
Yeah, this is good usage of coursers. Yeah, because if you spend all this money on horses and they actually don't do anything, this is certainly not going well. But this is good.
Yeah.
Although the Hydra count is scary. And
Yeah, the
so,
Hydra count's very scary.
yeah, Protoss is not really allowed to lose to many units because if he loses a little bit of extra units, Zerg will take control of that high count, and this is the most scary thing on this map.
Yeah, for sure.
DragOn tries to secure a third, but I think I would rather secure the high ground first, get on the map on this map, and then try to go for that base. There's no need to rush on this map for that expansion. Okay, DragOn moves out on the map. Very important to not lose the High Templars. 3 High Templars and 1 extra at home. Okay. More good. Alright, so Hawk didn't really try to go for that high ground. He's gonna set up his defense at his own ramp.
DragOn actually, when he got that high ground, snuck a pro out on the left side, so he's taking 6 o'clock as his third instead. Yeah, DragOn just kind of building up his army so far. Gonna scout in here to see that there's no Hive tech or anything being worked towards, no Queen's Nest, so at least gets an idea of what the game state is. Hawk just staying on these 3 bases so far, pumping lots of Hydra.
Ooh, that left side Hydras. If this base gets cancelled, and the base is definitely gonna get cancelled. This is bad news for DragOn.
Yeah, this is pretty painful. We're gonna be reaching, the 13 or so minute mark now, possibly even later before we get a third base. Starts getting a little bit scary for Protoss because they start getting close to drying up on these 2 bases.
DragOn tries to set up a trap. I hope doesn't even recall these Hydras home. Yeah. Actually, this is a good trade for a DragOn here.
Yeah. Gonna come down this pro, but
Alright, so let's see what the whole army is gonna do right now. Oh, well, these lurkers are without support, so this is great. This is great for DragOn here.
yeah, pretty overeager from Hawk, losing all of these lurkers for very little value.
But there are hardly any zealots here, so these Hydras are getting extreme value here.
Oh, there's no storm set.
Oh,
Oh, sorry. I'll be right back 1 second.
This is bad for Protoss. All these elves were at the bottom at the 6 o'clock, so these guns were led without support, so they ended up, the dragons ended up without support, and in the end, Hawk was able to both prevent 6 o'clock and at the same time take control of that high ground. So I've seen many games, guys, on this map. And once this happens, it's extremely hard to break out of this 2.5 base scenario. Even if you take this third base,
Okay.
which Zerg is gonna let you take eventually, Zerg doesn't really mind it.
Okay, sorry about that. I am back.
Welcome back. Okay, so yeah.
Seems like
Yeah, DragOn was forced to go back into his low ground position.
Oh yeah, this is looking pretty bad for DragOn now.
Yeah, like Hawk even allows himself to go even into the low ground, but well, this is well, very confident play from him. Yeah, and he's slowly ripping apart from both sides. DragOn
Really
tries.
taking this control off.
Yeah, the lack of height and touch is very hard from DragOn right now. Yeah, I don't think he's got enough to defend.
No storms left. Hydra's gonna break through this position, deny this third. You know, the observers die.
Yeah, no
And-
mining in main base, only natural has left. And
And a
GG.
GG. Hawk gonna complete the reverse sweep and take the series 3-2. Goodbye, Hawk.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Maybe he's warmed up.
Maybe that's what it was. He got warmed up. First 2 games were practice games, the next 3 mattered.
A strong appearance from Hawk. Even though I didn't comment the first 4 games, I saw most of them. So yeah, good macro, good. Actually, like was really surprised that Hawk, for example, on Game on Radion didn't go for that Hive tech stuff. So he just kept on that lair tech for the whole game. So yeah, was really surprised to see that side of Hawk as well.
All right, so that's going to move Hawk on to the next round. He's going to be playing against Ultra in a best of 5 in the winners bracket semis, and that's going to knock DragOn down to play against Medino in the losers bracket round 2, which that's also going to be a great series, I think.
Oh yeah. PvT always good to watch. Probably my favorite matchup. I like how stable this matchup is. Like a little bit more about like positioning, strategy, rather than just these skirmishes.
A Protoss player whose favorite matchup is PvT. What a rarity. You don't hear about that very often.
I didn't say it was my preference. I just like I like watching it.
Yeah, I understand. I don't need a break now.
I'm fine.
We can
I'm
keep
fine
on
to go.
trucking